What's up and welcome to this episode of the Marianne Hickman Show. And guys, I nailed it. I got the pitch queen herself, Forbes Riley. She's a guest on this week's episode of the podcast. I had to get her in between sets when we were on stage down in San Diego. You're gonna love this episode. Stay tuned. Guys, welcome to this very, very special episode of the Marianne Hickman Show. I have the one and only Forbes Riley, the pitch queen, with us today. My jaw was on the floor when you said yes to coming on the podcast.
Oh, please. Are you kidding me? I adore you. I had a chance to meet Marianne in Utah, and very few women I have ever seen MC shows and be on stage and pretty much be a mini me. No, seriously. I cut my teeth doing Club Med, and I love hosting, and I wanted to be a game show host.
Really?
You know what? There's no women game show hosts. At least when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And you know why? I have a theory on this. The theory has to do with clothes. When you look at game show hosts, especially in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up, they wore a uniform. Khaki pants, white shirt, blue blazer. You put a woman in a dress, she becomes Vanna White in the back.
That's the first person I thought of.
Right. She never was the first, because she's too dressed up.
Yeah.
Or if you put a woman in a suit, she looks like a newscaster. Mm-hmm. And then what was the one, the final, they put her in all black.
Oh, yeah.
So that she was completely not visible. Because you can't have a woman, now you can. Now there's women on game shows.
Yeah, look at us both in black.
But I will tell you, that's what I wanted, and so I ended up doing it at Club Med, and then I hosted TV shows. But watching you on stage when I walked in, I'm like, oh, damn, she's really good at what she does. So I'm a fan.
Well, someday I want to be like you.
Oh, I don't know about that. Successful, gorgeous.
Yes.
You have a great husband. You're already a mom. You got a good career. Come on.
I loved what you said today, by the way. We are here for the Tag Talks, which I am so excited about. Like, they're putting on such a good show.
Thank you.
And I stole you away from the stage for just a minute. But what you're teaching these people, I am in awe of how much you care and your insane attention to detail with body language, with clothing, with makeup, with hair, with getting people on stage, with honing their message and honing their craft, which excites me.
Good.
Because what you're doing is propagating goodness, which propagates goodness, which propagates goodness. What's up? Marianne Hickman here. Hey, listen, I'm about to give you my phone number, so write this down. 801-509-5495. I want you to text me. What questions do you have about the stage or getting on more stages or getting on podcasts? What questions do you have about monetizing your message and bringing in clients? I want to help you make money with your message, so text me 801-509-5495. Let's chat.
It's my only goal. You know, I went through so much growing up, and being a woman in this industry and being on my own. I didn't have mentors. Most of my mentors were in my head.
Yeah.
You know, I had Jane Fonda in my head, or I had Katharine Hepburn in my head. I didn't have a lot of people that I ever knew who were successful. And I had a lot of men chase me around desks and tables and make my life miserable in a time long before the Me Too movement was even a thing. I thought I was going crazy. I literally had a gentleman, an agent who I was excited to get with, invite me up to lunch. Great. Not at the hotel restaurant, but in his room. And I was naive enough to go, okay, that's fine. I was the lunch on the plate.
Oh my God.
And as he's chasing me around the room, he's a short guy, and I'm sorry, but I'm like looking at you going, dude, I'm going to kick your ass. What do you think we're going to do here? And I thought it was laughable more than anything else. I didn't realize on some level how women were being treated. And I had no desire in my life to mix sex with getting a part on a movie. I didn't put the two together, what sex and power means to a man and to women. I'm not saying it's just gender, but there was a whole Me Too thing where, especially as an actress, you put yourself in vulnerable positions because you're beautiful, because you want what you want, and there's a guy holding the purse strings going, if you want that, here's what I want. And I did a lot of my own thing, and I'm outrageous. If you look up outrageous in Wikipedia, there's my photo.
Picture.
Oh, wow. So, for example, when I couldn't find an agent, I said, this is not going to work for me. And so I hired a woman with a British accent named Lindsay Maxwell.
Oh, Lindsay Maxwell.
Yes. And Lindsay Maxwell was me.
Okay. What?
And I started a company called Creative Management for Artists. Hello, yes, I want to tell you about Forbes Riley. She is the most...
You're kidding me!
No, 1980 something. This was me. This for 3 years. I got movies, television, commercials. I pitched my only client really, really well.
I never knew this. That is amazing.
Yeah, it is. When you think about it now, I mean, back then, I was so nervous I was going to get caught. And what happened, truly, I ended up on a Broadway show with Christopher Reeve. I did soap operas. I did commercials. Lindsay was great. But there were moments where, like a Clark Kent moment, where I'm sitting on a set and somebody says, well, I have to call your manager. And I'm like, This is before cell phones. I have to, excuse me, I have to go run to a payphone and change my accent and remember that, oh yeah, sorry, yes. So what's going on? You want to renegotiate something, all right? Well, I'll ask Forbes.
Oh
Okay?
my God.
And I'll get right back to you. And so number one, I was living a double life on some level. I was lying, which I'm very good at. Actors have to lie. You literally lie for a living. Mm-hmm. We're in a movie, I'm gonna fall in love with you, but I don't really love you because you're an actress.
I have to
so
facilitate this.
Right, so you somehow propagate this mythical thing. And at some point, might that lead to a little imposter syndrome for real? Might that lead to, wait a second, I'm really not that good because I don't have a real agent? And there were all kind of things that went along with what I did. While it was cool and I'm proud of myself and I worked, I was also dealing with a lot of self-esteem issues.
Yeah. Well, and you were having babies at the same time.
Well, no, you're having babies. She has 6 babies.
It's true.
I had 1 pregnancy, very efficient, pushed out 2 kids, 2 7-pound kids. They were so big they went right to college. No, just kidding. No, but I was 42 when I had my children. And it's a lot of fun looking back at my life. It really is. And if you ever come to St. Pete, I have a wall, about a 100-foot wall in my office with photos of my life.
I want to come see this.
I literally went through my albums and I said, I don't think I appreciated who I've been and what I've done because I was so busy doing it. Mm-hmm. And I put up winning Miss Teenage New York, and I put up all the soap operas, and I put up the movies and the awards and just the journey. I mean, I started the X Games for ESPN. I created fitness on television. That's my thing, selling products on Fit TV for 5 years, grossing over $2.5 billion. This is before the internet. Nobody knew what I had done. Mm-hmm. And when the internet came out and it became very prolific for people you don't even know to talk about themselves, I thought, I'm going to put all this on a wall so I can walk people down this journey because it's freaking spectacular. And then it turned bad. My parents were my best friends. I had a very, very remote childhood. My dad spent 3 years in the hospital when I was in high school. He had a horrible accident. And I was a very ugly kid. I had braces for 8 years.
You showed the mold downstairs.
Right.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, my teeth all went in different directions and I had an orthodontist from hell. But it was that moment when it made me talk like that for 2 years. Can you imagine one of your cute little girls not being able to communicate?
That would be devastating.
It was, and we all didn't pay much attention to it back in those days. We're all busy. My parents were working, trying to keep us fed, and I was dealing with whatever I was dealing with. And by the way, I have a huge philosophy about life happens for you. So glad that it did. Not when I was going through it, but on the other side. So it gets to be 1998, and my mom calls. I'm at an audition for a dog game show called Zig and Zag. I'm in the parking lot. And my mom says I've just been diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my gosh.
And I never processed what that meant. I'm in California, she's in New York. I go up to the audition and I'm still having this conversation in my head. It's for a dog game show. This is crazy. At some point there was a dog there. The dog got down on the floor. I started crying. The dog's licking my face and I'm licking the dog back. I don't know. I got the job. And when I asked the producer why they hired me, he said, it's funny. The dog licked a lot of people. You were the only actress who didn't push him away and get upset about it. And we just loved your interaction. My mom then went on to get very sick. And then my dad got cancer. And then my dad died, in the blink of an eye. I don't have a whole lot of friends. These are my parents. I have one sister and 2 beautiful parents. The next thing you know, my dad, the center of my universe, is gone, ripped out of my life. Then my mother survives another year, and then she's gone. Mm. I have no relatives, no aunts and uncles, no cousins. My mom was an only child. My dad, pretty much an only child as well. And when everyone was gone, that was it. And then so my dad dies in New York City. And I had this one moment I remember. It was 1999 to 2000. Everyone was freaking out, Y2Ks. Mm-hmm. And I walked from 80th Street down to Times Square on New Year's Eve. Of all these people, he died 9 days later than that. Out of my head, watching the ball fall, but still loving my New York City. I grew up in New York City. I worked on Broadway. I lived in 10 different locations. It was my city. And then somebody decided to take down the World Trade Centers. Oh, yeah. And when that happened, I lost 9 of the guys I went to high school with, who were firemen. My brother-in-law was a fireman. He survived, but nobody else did. And so all of a sudden, both your parents, 9/11, 9 friends, the world is ending. I put him and 4 of the guys on a bike tour. They rode from New York City all the way across the country to raise money for the firemen who had fallen and their families. And it was just a crazy time. And then I'm now 41 and I'm completely lost. I have nothing. You look at me now going, wow, this is 20 some odd years ago. And I said to the universe, I need a baby or I don't want to be here.
Oh, wow.
I need something to love. I was married, but I was so hurt and so shattered. And here's the funny thing about life, Marianne. I don't know how other people appreciate life, but I see things. I see signs. I said that sentence, and my husband and I could not make kids. We tried, it didn't work. And I literally opened up my union, my Screen Actors Guild from actors, and there was a little coupon, and it said 1 month of free fertility. That's a $10,000 coupon. And I looked at that, and I'm like, looked at it and going,
really?
Like, really? I went to my doctor, and he said, well, I'll take the coupon, but you have some pretty old eggs. I'm like, screw you.
You're like, thanks.
Well, they were 41-year-old eggs, and in that, as fertility, that's, I guess.
We were called geriatric mothers. After you're 35, that's what they called me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, geriatric pregnancies.
Oh, shit. Wow. Well, here's the other thing. We didn't have a whole lot of money back then, my husband and I, so I had to get my drugs from Mexico. So my kids speak Spanish, which is, no, just they don't. But I wasn't, I didn't have any money. I'm like, how do I pay for the drugs, right? We got our drugs. We had relatives in San Diego. And at 42, now here's the crazy part of this story, and I hope it just inspires you guys out of your mind. My gynecologist is one of my best friends. He's a great guy. I go to him, and so we do the infertility. Mm-hmm. We get pregnant, and the doctor walks in and says he can tell you the day that you're pregnant, so the day that you're due, right? Sure. You know that. Yep. I don't know any of this. He says you conceived on March 20th, which is my mother's birthday, the first day after she's not here. And you're due on December 7th, which is Pearl Harbor Day. I know that because it's my father's birthday.
Oh my God.
And I said to him and them, I said, are you kidding me? You're telling me that I'm going to have babies. They were conceived on my mom's birthday and due on dad's birthday. The odds of that being are astronomical. It's $1 billion. It's like hitting the lottery.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And then I said to my doctor, my gynecologist, I said, you deliver babies, right? Like, I didn't know that was part of his job.
It's part of the whole package.
Well, he said, no. He said, I love doing that. And then he pointed to a picture on the wall. And it was a picture of triplets, born on April 25th, which is my birthday. And he said, I hand-delivered those. Don't get a C-section. I will take care of you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He promised that on March 25th. And around December, I pushed out at 42 2 very healthy 7-pound boy-girl twins. And 2 days later, took them home like it was nothing.
Oh my gosh, your first pregnancy twins, 7-pound twins.
Yeah, I know, each. It was something, it was nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of miracles. Now, somebody said to me, do you think they're your parents reincarnated? I said, no, I don't think it works that way. Mm-hmm. But I do believe that I was being watched over. That something just made sure. It was picture perfect pregnancy. I ended up on the cover of a magazine, 8 months pregnant.
I need to see this picture.
Oh my God, it's great. Well, here's the other thing. I'll show you something. One of the pictures I have is my belly. Here's my hand. I'm 65 inches around and I'm 65 inches tall.
Oh my gosh.
That's how big I was. Like, it was like bizarrely, like there were children in there. They were having fun. So and it's knock on wood. They are now 21. Yeah. I didn't leave either one of them in a grocery store, which I might have done. I had a horrible fear of that. I don't want to forget a baby.
Oh, right. I've done that. We only got to the parking lot.
Well, you got 6.
No excuses. Sorry, Addie. We love you.
And now the best part of this story, and why I'm here to serve other people, is that my daughter at 21 is my business partner.
She is jaw-dropping, by the way. Not only in gorgeous looks, but her capabilities and her mind, like she will intimidate the top New York businessman.
Oh, I'm ready for that.
She's so confident.
She started running the company when she was 17. She told me, Mom, I'm going to make you $1 million if you just if you focus and get out of my way. Thank you.
That sounds like her.
Well, but it's true, because I think we as women, I'm distracted. I'm raising children. I'm dealing with an ex-husband. I'm trying to figure out how to make myself happy. Mm-hmm. I have my own insecurities. And this is what's really interesting about her. And you know your kids. And we raise kids differently than we were raised. I am not having to struggle to put food on the table. So I have a lot more time to be reflective. I'm an older mom. So I've been through a lot of the things that, if you got your kids at 20, you're still trying to figure out who you are.
You're still a kid.
By the time I was 42, I pretty much had done a lot of things. And my husband, my ex-husband, had also been very successful. He was a Notre Dame football player, he was in business, he ran in politics. We didn't have to live through our kids. And that's just a different kind of parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I let them do all of these things on their own. And it's fascinating how she evolved because she didn't have any of the traumas that I had.
Right.
My dad spent 3 years in the hospital. He had a horrible accident. My mother was held up at my house at gunpoint.
Oh.
They stole all of our jewelry when I was a kid. I have all these little crazy hang-ups about shit that happened to me.
There's a book for every month of your life.
Well, there's one more piece of this, and I'll think, I left out an interesting piece. So before we had kids, you know how you're supposed to get a dog or a plant to see if you can make
see if you can take care
see
of
if
them.
you don't, if it doesn't die, you might
Yeah.
be. Well, my husband and I got a kid from Big Brothers Little Brothers, Dexter, when he was 8 years old. And for 12 years of his life, we helped raise him. And every weekend he was ours, every vacation he was best man at my wedding. Little black kid from South Central, very, very, very black. And had a very big chip on his shoulder about white people. And I smacked that out of him. And we had, Dexter, when I first got him, he was little. We went up to Tom's dad's house, which was on the top of a mountain. Tom's dad was the vice president of the Teamsters. Not uber rich, but nice house. And Dexter walks up with this attitude going, this is where white people live. I'm like, dude, this is where green people live. See the Puerto Rican, the Chinese, the white, the black, and they're rich. It doesn't matter what color their skin is. And I spent a lot of time telling Dexter he could be anything because I believe that. Here's what happened. 6 months after my babies were born, he was walking from a haircut to church right down to USC, right where he lived. Kid wanted to get into a gang, walked up behind my boy and shot him 10 times in the back and left him for dead. Not a great part of the story. I've got 6-month-old babies. And now what happens is that my ex-husband, who was really, really, really close to Dexter, didn't do anything for 2 years. He sat on the couch.
Got him.
He watched the Food Network. I ended up having to get a nanny. He doesn't remember much of this. It's really an interesting time. He fell away, he just couldn't handle it.
His trauma brain.
Yep. And you have 2 newborns, and you talk about survival mode.
Yeah.
We were in, and then I lost both my parents, so I was in survival mode for 5 freaking years. And then, here's how I got out of it, and I highly recommend this. I blew up my house.
I heard about this on Jimmy's podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
freaking blew up my house. I know this sounds crazy, and you can watch it on YouTube. If you go to Die Hard Explodes My Home, I had a house in Los Angeles on a half an acre, but the main house only had 2 bedrooms and 1.5 baths. Well, there's 4 of us. What are we going to do? So we wanted to make a little bigger house. The architect says, well, look, if you knock down the cinder block house, I'll build you a 1,000 square foot bigger, same price, but you got to spend the $25,000 to knock your house down. I said, I don't have that money, and you can't get money to knock a house down. It doesn't really work. It kind of destroys the collateral.
Like insurance fraud or something like that.
That's what it is. And so I said to him, in my brilliance, remember that word outrageous? I said, can't we blow up my house? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon blew up a house. We're in Hollywood. How hard could it be? So I went
gotta have one that they need to blow up.
I went on the internet and I said, I have a house to blow up. Is anybody interested? 3 days later, knock, 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 and it was the crew from Die Hard. Bruce Willis's the 5th installment.
The best Christmas movie ever.
No, that's the first one. This one
true.
is the one with Justin Long.
Okay, here we go.
And he said, yeah, give us 8. We need 8 days to deconstruct your house and blow it up. And it was right before Christmas.
And also, you need to move out and get all your stuff out.
Well, no, that's the funny thing. We didn't move out.
Oh, okay.
You know what we did? We put a price tag. We opened the doors. We did a living estate sale, and said, screw it. I'm done with my life. My life, that part of it doesn't work. I want to sell everything I have. Here's a price literally on every single thing in the house.
Yeah.
People can walk through the house, buy what they want. We had a guest house in the back. I'm moving into my own guest house, which is only 1,000 square feet, but it was cute.
Yeah.
We blow up the house. In fact, we have to watch the YouTube video. Now, here's what's funny about that. This is in a time before cell phones. I owned a camcorder, and I made a video.
I love how you said camcorder.
Oh, it was like this big. Remember those days? It was like a half-inch video tape. And I made a movie about it. I edited my own movie about my kids watching their house blowing up because I thought if I don't record this, they won't know it happened. Mm-hmm. And I had a weird little vision. My daughter's 3 years old when it happens. And I said, when she's 16 and she starts dating a boy that I don't like, I'm going to take out this piece of film and say, look, you get rid of him or I'm blowing up your room. I did it before. Don't push me. Don't push me. Right. And there's, in the video, you have to watch, you know why McKenna's the way she is? When you watch this video, and I know you're going to do this.
Oh, 100%.
She's in her bedroom. There's bombs in her bedroom. She's like, Mommy, I just want everybody to take the bombs home. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Oh my God.
So it explains a lot about my daughter.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Now, here's the crazy thing. I'm so smart, right? Let's blow up our house. 2 weeks later, it's December 2008.
Oh, God.
The market crashes. I blew up the equity in my home. My property's upside down. I have a family of 4 and a 1,000 square foot guest house on a corner of a very large dirt lot. And I'm screwed. And you know what people said? So what do you have in life? I'm like, I have a lot. I have a fucking dirt lot.
Literally, just the lot.
Dirt lot and a really nice big pool. And we built an office for me on the property, and we lived there for 2 years. And you know what? We lived in 1,000 square feet. My living room and my kid's bedroom was one. My kitchen and my bedroom was the other. And you know what? Probably the happiest time of my life. And so you can have the mansions and all the big stuff. If you don't have the essentials, you being happy with you loving on your family. I'm glad I didn't have a whole lot then, because I didn't have a whole lot to worry about. And it was a very blessed time. And you know, it wore on me, and at some point I picked up and moved to Florida because we really couldn't afford to build a house for another 2.5 years. I blew up my equity.
That's
Go
insane.
figure. Yeah, good stories.
Yeah, every single one's a signature presentation. It's
Right.
well, and here, I wanted to get back to this because you not only tell stories that are real so well, but you do it while being a mom. What you said downstairs, again, jaw-dropping moment for me. All of these women that are big celebrities, you know, you name all the public speakers you can think of, they're mostly men, except for you, and maybe 2 or 3 others. And then you named, what about Oprah? Not a
Lisa
mom.
Nichols, not a mom. Ellen DeGeneres, not a
Not
mom.
a mom.
Robin
Not a
Roberts,
mom.
not a mom. And there are some moms. There's Kelly Ripa. And you have to go, Kelly's got 3 kids. And you really have to look at this sometimes to go, how do you raise a family and keep your career? Because odds are you're not going to. There's very few people, you know, you look at Goldie Hawn, her kids became successful, but she kind of lost her career. She's not doing that anymore. Sharon Stone's not doing her career anymore. A lot of the women that I knew, it's hard to do both. And then I looked at Tony Robbins, and I know his youngest son, Jarek, although he just had a baby. He's now got a 3-year-old, and he's 64.
Oh,
Oh, I know.
that's fun.
Interesting, just
Yeah.
conversation. He's got a younger wife, and they wanted a baby.
I'd like to be 80 when your baby moves out.
Well, you know what? We live longer. He may live forever.
Yeah,
But
I
Tony
hope so.
Randall did that. He had a kid at 80. Al Pacino has a kid at 80. Robert De Niro, I think it's a very selfish move because while your dad is famous, he's dead. You know, I don't think people are thinking clearly, personally. But he didn't really have a great relationship with his kids. Why? Because he was building an empire. You cannot have it. You can have it all, just not all at the same time. And so the smartest thing I did, here are a couple of advices before I leave. I didn't stop working. My ex did. Somebody's got to take care of the kids. My ex was a great cook, and when he woke up from watching too much Food Network, he went to cooking school, and he's a great chef. And my daughter and I have had this conversation a lot. Apparently, I traveled a little bit more for work than I realized, but somebody had to.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't give up my career because I knew, ladies, you don't get to go back. You can't go back to what you had. You either keep it going or you find something new. But it's you try entering the job market at 50. It doesn't work. 20-year-olds don't want you. 30-year-olds don't want you. Luckily, nowadays, you can create a side hustle. And I'm turning 64 next week, which is insane. I think I look half my age. I'm grateful. That's a combination, I guess, of genes, what I eat, and how I think.
Well, you're very... I've been in awe of everything you do, not only with your health, but as a mom, like... You can have it all.
Well, but here's the thing. I didn't always have my health. And I can, I had some stupid scares. I almost lost my life a couple of times. I got real stressed out at some point about a divorce and stopped drinking. Didn't drink water, I guess.
Oh, I stopped, intaking water. That's...
Yeah, right.
Wow. Whoa.
Yes, and ended up with a kidney stone. And then that went septic. And I had a moment there in a New York City hospital. I was getting ready to do a fitness show, eating a lot of protein, no water, and got deathly ill.
Yeah.
And I'm lying on the table, and I remember all these people standing around me, and one said, she's got really low blood pressure. And I wanted to say, although I couldn't talk, I had great blood pressure all through my pregnancy, 120/80. I pushed out twins. What she was saying is she has no blood pressure. Like, this woman is dying of sepsis. And by the grace of God, 10 days of antibiotics, I survived.
Oh, my gosh.
Which is amazing. Except 10 days of antibiotics screws up your entire system. So 2 years later, I'm dying again. They thought I had stomach cancer. And it turns out that I had H. pylori or whatever it was, and that was curable. But I'm dealing with whatever, your digestion, your constipation as a woman, your constitution. We process things differently. We hold it in our stomach.
We do.
And if you don't learn to love yourself, your body, and your process, you will just leave the planet too soon. My mentor is Elaine Lelaine, Jack LaLanne's wife. She's 98 years old. You know what she does every day? She laughs. She freaking laughs. Her and Les Brown. Les Brown's beaten cancer now for like 17 years.
Oh my gosh.
You laugh. You literally get on the phone with them and they're like, I was like, I love you guys.
Les is like that in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just but that's part of who he is. I think it's what keeps him healthy. And I have this is crazy thing about me and Marianne. I just survived a near-death accident, a car accident.
I saw your picture on Instagram.
Holy fuck. We were in a tour bus. We had a great time in Iceland. Iceland is, by the way, the Disneyland for
We went
adults.
in June. Hands down.
Oh, you went?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it wonderful?
Oh, yeah. I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
Very cool place. So we go snowmobiling, and I wanted to be James Bond when I was a kid.
Shocker.
Right, well, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I'm driving the snowmobile, and the sun's setting, and we're on a glacier. And I'm like, this is like James Bond. It's like, I'm doing it. And then we found an ice cave. We went down into this ice. I'm like, this is so cool. I had a great day. We're driving back, and the bus was really squirrely. The road was fine. It was a sunny day. And somehow something fell off his visor. He lost control of a bus with 16 people in it. It goes flying through the air, that surreal moment of, and then it crashes on my side. My face goes through the glass onto the asphalt. My daughter's behind me. Her face does the same thing. Josh, we're all strapped in. Joshua's above me. Right, my son's above. And then there's people on top of the bus. They're dangling, going, please cut me out. I'm choking because the seatbelt's choking me. And my daughter told a story, I think you were there, where she thought, Mom, I didn't think Mom survived. I did.
She said, I think I'm looking at my dead mother right now.
Yeah, that would have really sucked. That would have been a very different story today. And so I'm grateful that we're here. And I'm really grateful because the PTSD from that is real. I didn't sleep for 2 weeks. I just couldn't. And everybody, you go through an accident, you go through a trauma. And I teach how to break through traumas. And I said to myself, look, give yourself a break. You have to process this.
Yeah, every coach needs a coach.
Well, no, but you just have to process.
Oh, yeah, you give yourself some
Here's
time.
the thing. We went to the hospital. The hospital sent me home. What they did, because they x-rayed me. They're like, you're fine. Like,
Which is
I
a
can't.
miracle.
No. I'm like, I can't move my arm. I'm not fine. I don't understand hospitals, but how about the fact that I tore my shoulder in 3 places? I have no supraspinatus. My bicep is torn in something. I crashed down on my shoulder. But they're like, if it still hurts you in 2 weeks, here's some drugs. I'm like, so I got an MRI, and they're like, you're in bad shape. You need surgery. I'm not going to do that today. I might at some point, but it was weird because when something like that happens, and this is an interesting thing about trauma for all of us, we can't see it. I was on the plane behind a woman who had a cast on her hand. You could look at her and go, oh, I feel bad, she hurt her hand. Mm-hmm. But you can't see my shoulder. You can't see my head. You can't see all the things that I'm feeling. And I thought that was a very odd phenomenon because Joshua, who's very pragmatic, is like, why are you still talking about the accident? I'm like, because it is, in fact, my way of processing it. And because of that, I made a weird decision. I was a little unhappy with the quality of my fitness. I wasn't really going to the gym. I built a company in the last 4 years. I'm very focused on that. Gyms take a lot of time. Businesses take a lot of time. One had to go. But my husband is a professional bodybuilder. And I recently went to an event, and there was an over 60 women's category, and there's only 3 women in it, and I thought, I could have done that. No, it's not that easy. But we come back home, and he said, there's a fitness competition in our hometown. It's a national qualifier for me. Do you want to do it? I'm like,
it's a heavy question.
No, fuck no, I don't. It's a stupid question. I watched this guy named Chris Crone and all of his friends like Marianne get up at 4 a.m. and do a fitness competition. They're stupid. I'm not doing that.
I can't argue with you. We were insanely stupid.
That's like really stupid. And so I said, sure.
So here we are.
I said this 29. By the way, the accident was only like 4 weeks ago. 29 days ago,
yeah,
I started this fitness program, and I've been in the gym every morning at 5 a.m. Like I said I would never do.
Here we are. And you're what, 10 weeks out now?
Yeah. Yesterday. No, today. It's 10 weeks. Maybe it's 9 weeks from today.
Maybe so.
Somewhere. It's either 9 or 10 weeks from today. It's June 29th. And then she pops out a picture. A woman who's had 6 babies. Oh, look at my fitness. I'm like,
oh God.
Oh my God, you look like the professionals. What the hell is this?
I don't want to brag, but I ranked last in 3 categories, so.
Congratulations. Really?
Oh, yeah.
You looked really good, though.
There wasn't a mom's category.
Well,
you're competing against 28-year-olds.
Right.
Or maybe 35 plus, because I'm a master's now, but.
Right. I'm over 60. I'm competing in the postmenopause category. And I'm sorry, I'm sure this is, you know, I don't know if I'm really competing against anyone except me.
It's you.
I'm in the gym, and here's a couple of things that happened, and then I should go back downstairs. I watched Joshua work out for 7 years. I was a dancer. I know what it's like to be in the studio and do all that. I never really got the gym. I go, you know what I do in the gym? Instagram. It's a great time. I sit in the sauna and I Instagram, and I'll do a sit-up and I'll Instagram, and I'll get on the phone and I'll do a live. I'm at the gym. I was never at the gym. I lied. I really did. I just did whatever I wanted to do, whatever I felt like that day. And I know better, but I'm not interested. Joshua does boring things. He does like 10 reps of things.
A million times. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, well, when I made this decision, the first day that I got in the gym, and I brought a girlfriend of mine, and I'm coaching her, we did, 15 sets of starting at 50 reps. And in the back of my mind was, I'm doing this because in 12 weeks from that moment, I'm going to be on stage in a bikini.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this little thing, I've had a lot of conversations with myself in the gym, and one of them was, it's different if you have a goal. I now know why Joshua competes. He's turning 47. He doesn't want to stop competing because he won't have any reason to go to the gym.
Right.
Whoa, that was really heavy for me.
That's a shirt. It's different when you have a goal.
Yeah, did you find that you were just like differently committed to your family and your food and everything?
Oh, absolutely. We froze our food and took it with us when we went on vacation.
And why did you opt to do a competition?
I wanted to be able to say I'd done that. It was a milestone for me. I probably won't compete for the rest of my life. It was a touchstone to say, look what I'm capable of.
And you look damn good in the bikini.
Well, thank you, darling.
I want the photo and I'm good.
Yeah.
No, and I'm going to walk out in the little hooker high heels and have fun and enjoy this process.
Yeah.
Because you only go around this way once. And so I'm excited to see what this looks like and feels like. And this morning, 5 o'clock in the gym. And it's the funniest thing because until before that, I'm very happy to lie. In fact, here was my biggest joke. My husband, I think, is incredibly handsome. I love looking at I just love looking at him. He's just a sweetheart and he's sexy and he's fun. And I waited. I didn't meet him until I was 57. I was excited to meet him. And one day I'm lying in bed, it's like 10:30, because he doesn't get out of bed till like 10. He's like a little bit of a slug, as fit as he is. 10 o'clock is like his wake up time.
Wow.
So I'm lying in bed, and it's like 10:30, and I rolled over, I'm like, Joshua, we're not, successful people get up at 5 a.m. I said,
He's like, no, we don't.
That's what he said. He's like, screw that. Let's go back to bed. We're really successful. We don't have to get up till 2. I'm like, oh shit, that's so true. I don't have to get out of bed. And so that was my philosophy though for the last couple of years. I go to bed if I want at 2 or 3 in the morning. I get up when I want. I do what I want. And I listen to all these 5 a.m.ers like, ugh. All of a sudden, because I don't have any other time in the day to work out except from 5 to 7.
Exactly.
The rest of the day is booked.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it. I'm absolutely enjoying it. I was just at lunch today, and people are ordering French fries. Like, don't you want one? I'm like, absolutely not. There's not a fiber in my being that is worth more than me getting on stage. So this goal thing, and it's fun to talk to you because makes things different. And I think I taught this and preached this, but I never really absorbed it.
It's all about what do you want? Do you want the French fry or do you want the goal?
I never wanted a French fry.
Yeah.
But it's easier. I talked to a woman downstairs who's got a bit of a belly, and she's like, I got a bit of a belly. And the sentence was, but I don't really like the gym. And my question,
I remember that. I was watching this go down. I loved how but why?
Well, because my question to her is, I get you're over 60, again, this is challenging, but you and I are the exact same. You're not making that decision. And I'm looking at you and I'm feeling sad. Because if you don't choose to fix it, what is the rest of your life? The belly doesn't go away, by the way, if you don't do something about it. Can it go away? Yeah. Here's the next thing. The last 3 weeks, because now it's literally the end of my very first month, day 29. Those first 3 weeks, weirdly depressing because I would get on the scale and the scale didn't move. In the old days, if I dieted like I've been dieting,
oh yeah,
I would drop 10 pounds like that. The scale didn't freaking move. And I'm like, I know I'm building muscle is more than fat. Didn't matter. It was like, at some point, is this going to change? And Josh was like, it might take 4 to 6 months before you see a change. And then I had to get really clear with myself and go, are we in this to win this? If you're going to be 90, this is a really good time to get fit. because you won't need to do it again. Get really fit and enjoy that for the rest of your life. And to my mentor, Jack LaLanne, there is no bite of chocolate cake. Nothing tastes as good as fit feels.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. And I'm glad I woke up, but I'm sorry it had to take a bus falling on me.
Well, and what you said, nothing tastes as good as this feels, that could be said for your health. It could be said as far as being a mom. It could be said for business, for anything, really. And the whole point of this is to focus so hard on what you want, be so relentlessly committed to it that no temptation tastes as good as that win.
You also have to know, so I look at you, don't you want to just spend time with your kids?
I love spending time with my kids, absolutely.
But you love having a career as well.
Both, yeah. Absolutely. We're on our phones with our Richard's parents and our baby all the time, and he's like, we're zooming back, and then when we get home with the kids, we debrief, and I say wellness checks on the kids, and we do this, and I cheer them on in their careers, and they're cheering me on in mine, and we're not perfect for it, but we're finding beautiful harmony along the way.
Good.
It's my favorite things, and I, like you, I want to be an example to mothers that you can have both.
Yeah, I do want to write a parenting book. I've been talking about this for a long time. I have a lot of philosophies that worked. One philosophy was the level of guilt. Guilt will kill you.
Oh, the mom guilt.
And so, just like you said, you've got, his parents, his mom watching out the baby. You know your baby's safe and protected. I called McKenna one day from a seminar, and she gets on the phone, and she says, "Mommy, do you still love me?" Right.
What a devastating question.
Well, I wasn't there. She's waking up and going to school, and her mom's not there. Where's mom? Do you still love me? And I thought for a moment, and I looked at all the other moms on their phones and thought, I'm not going to fall into this. I am not going to say, "Oh, baby, I love you. I'm going to bring you a gift." And of course, I said, screw this. I said, "Did the sun come up today?" She said, "Mom, yeah." I said, "Great. Every day that the sun comes up, even if it's a little cloudy, you know that your mom loves you. You never have to ask me that again." Next morning, she gets on the phone. "Hi, McKenna. Hi, Mommy." I said, "Did the sun come up?" She's like, "I know. I'm loved." Like, I know I'm loved. And we made that a game.
Girl.
Because I'm not buying into the guilt. I never bought them presents. There's another couple of things. I traveled a lot. My dad, when he went on a trip, would always bring me a little something. I want to be the something that they look forward to, not the gift. In the same vein, I was a little jealous of Santa Claus at some point. I'm like, I bought you some really nice gifts here, and Santa Claus is getting credit for it.
We should do another episode about parenting, because we didn't do Santa for that reason. I want you to learn to be the gift giver.
Yeah, well, I had to kick the fat guy out. you brought them a carrot. There you go. You see what he got you? He got you a carrot. I buy you the PlayStation with my hard-earned money. It didn't come from some magical fairy dust.
Well, any last messages? I know we got to get you back on stage downstairs. Any last messages for especially all the moms out there that are wanting to do this?
Number one, key into me. Here's a free gift for you. Go to freegiftfromforbes.com.
And we'll put it in the description for you as well.
What you'll find there is my 1 minute to millions, and it's just this beautiful template.
Take this template and run with it.
And if you ever want to find out how to use more of it, certainly reach out to me. But it's a step-by-step guide to you networking, getting to find out who you are, your mission, and it's the most beautiful document. I do it with everybody I meet, all my students. Everyone's got to go through this. Because once you can do it, you can introduce yourself, you can be more personable, you can get business deals done faster. So I love that. My thought though, and I can't wait to do the parenting book because I have a bunch of systems that you might enjoy. It helps being an older mom whose dad was a magician.
Oh,
and I come from a world of manipulation, let's just say that.
That's the greatest showman.
Yep. And so I don't know if you get a second time around. I don't know if there's reincarnation. I believe if you live once, but here's the thing. If you do it right, once is enough.
Forbes Riley, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, I adore you.
Love
I just adore you since the moment I met you.
Oh, you're so wonderful. Well, we're going to have all these links in the chat, in the description rather, of this podcast. So check out Forbes, go online, see what she's up to, and if you can, get in the room with her at one of her upcoming events.
Yeah.
Check her out. We'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And of course, make sure you text me just directly with whatever questions you have about building your brand. You want to build your signature keynote presentation. Maybe you're at the stage where you need to get your ebook out. You need to help writing that. Let's do it all. Whatever you have questions with, wherever you're stuck, just text me 801-509-5495. Let's get this underway and make you some money with your message.